Hi folks, welcome to this video on achievement motivation. So what can we say about achievement motivation? The definition of it is the drive or the desire to be successful, okay? How much do you want to succeed, if you want to think of it like that? And achievement motivation, we can say that you are either a Nack, some people say Natch, or Naff personality type. Now, Nack or Natch stands for need to achieve, and Naff stands for need to avoid failure. Okay? Now, my issue was always, if you achieve, you avoid failure. So isn't that the same thing? My way of thinking of it is think of a penalty shootout. You've got a penalty shootout to get to a World Cup final or something like that. Your Nack people are the ones who will put their hand up very willingly to say, I want to take a penalty. That is me. I want to take it on. Whereas the Naff people, they're the ones that will hang around in the background and say, say nothing essentially, but as if to say, I don't want to take one, I don't fancy this. They would rather not have a go, and if they don't have a go, they can't fail. If I don't take a penalty, I can't miss it. That's their attitude. Whereas the Nack people go, if I do take a penalty, I might miss it, but I could score it. And it could be the one that sends my team through. So what we need to do is look at a few characteristics of each of these personality types. So there are the characteristics of a need to achieve person. They want feedback. They want to know how well they've done. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What do I need to improve on? They're not afraid of failure. They don't like to get beat, but they're not afraid of failure. They're also very willing to take risks, hence why they will take a penalty. I know I could miss it. I know I could miss it and it could knock our team out, but I could score it and I fancy my chances at scoring it. I'm willing to have a go. And, linked in with that, they accept challenges. They will not just sit in the background and let other people do the work. In contrast to that, then our Naff people, our need to avoid failure people, they're afraid of failure. They don't want to get beat. So I would rather take on weak opposition. I would rather not take a penalty because then I can't miss it and I can't fail. They don't take risks because if you take risks, you might fail. They avoid challenges. They're the people, you might know some yourself, if you're playing top of the league, they're the people who will make up an injury or an illness or suddenly not be there for that game. If you're playing bottom of the league, chances are they'll be there and they'll play. They don't like taking on the big boys and girls. They dislike feedback. They don't want to know how badly they've done or even how well they've done. Just let me get on with a performance. At the end of it, let me get home. Okay? So they don't like to receive feedback either. What we could also do is look at this graph here and think about Nack and Naff. What we have on this graph is the probability of success along here. So what I've got is low probability of success, high probability of success, okay? An incentive value of success, again, low here and high here. What we're basically saying is, probability of success. The probability of success is low when I am playing the best in the world. Probability of success is my chance of winning. My chance of winning against the best in the world is low or lower, okay? My chance of winning against weak opposition is high, okay? If I'm playing someone worse than me, it's a high chance I'm going to be successful. On the y-axis, we've got the incentive value of success. So, if I am beating someone who is well below me, the incentive to win is low. I'm not going to grab any headlines by beating this opponent or winning this event. Okay? Conversely, when the incentive value of success is high, it means I'm playing someone who is, deemed better than me, someone who is ranked higher than me or something like that. And so if I win, that's what grabs the headlines. The incentive to win is high. Okay? What we've got here, A and B, is we've got the two personality types, okay? This is my Nack person. My Nack person wants to play against the opponents that are better than them, so the probability of success is low. Chance of me beating Novak Djokovic on the tennis court is very low. But what if I do beat him? Look at the incentive to beat Djokovic. That is a high incentive. Whereas at this end, these are your Naff people. Okay, the chance of me winning is high, but that's because I'm playing a weak opponent, so the incentive to win is actually quite low. Okay, what does this explain? It explains why we get FA Cup upsets Think about when Bradford beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the FA Cup. Was it the third round or the fourth round? I think it was the third round. What you've got is, you've got two mentalities going in. Chelsea are down here. Their probability of beating Bradford is very, very high. But the incentive, Chelsea play Man City, Man U, Arsenal, in the Premier League. So the incentive to beat Bradford is low. No disrespect to Bradford at all, but that's just the situation, okay? Whereas Bradford are going in with this mentality type. Our chance of beating Chelsea is low, but what if we do? It's a headline grabber, which it certainly was when they did. And that explains why we do get these FA Cup upsets from time to time. So you've got a naff person, and you want to turn him into knack. So what we're trying to do is, we're trying to go from naff to knack. Okay, how do we go about doing that? Well, there's various things we can do to develop knack behaviour in our performers. So turning naff into knack then, what we've got to do in training, as well as in games, but ideally in training, we've got to give success. We've got to let them experience a bit of positivity, give them some successes in the training environment. Instead of chucking them in right at the deep end, we've got to gradually increase the task difficulty, gradually make it more complicated. Effective goal setting. If you're asking them to achieve goals that are unrealistic, not achievable, then they're just going to get deflated and they're going to have a naff mentality. When they do things correctly, give lots of positive feedback, praise, reward, encourage, okay? Reduce the punishment, okay? Yeah, criticise, give feedback when they're not doing it right, but don't punish. Make sure it's constructive and encourage the idea of risk-taking. What's the worst that can happen, okay? Yeah, if you miss it, so what? At least you stepped up and took one. That kind of attitude towards it. Finally, this sometimes comes up, questions on approach and avoidance behaviour. What is it? Approach behaviour is knack, okay? I will approach challenges, I will take on challenges when I have a high need to achieve. I'll take risks, I'll accept challenges, that's what it basically means. What is avoidance behaviour? Well, it's exactly what you'd expect. It's naff. I will avoid taking challenges, I will avoid taking risks, I will avoid feedback, okay? So approach behaviour, willingness to take things on, that's need to achieve, and avoidance behaviour is the need to avoid failure. So it's just in case question comes up on those two terms, it means exactly the same.